what God also gives us is genetics from our mother and our father that make us who we are, okay? That is what we call our temperament, okay? That is our God-given inborn genetics. The reason why I have this is not Photoshop, by the way. A zebra and a horse got together and padow.
Wow. Oh.
So my point is this. When your mom and dad got together, whatever you are is what God made you to be. So you, number one, could go on this one too, but I'm not. You don't have to be anybody else. Be who God made you to be. But with that also comes the beauty of who you are, which is what God designed you, and also the struggle of who you are because of the fall in the garden. So we also struggle because we have this inborn genetic temperament that is phenomenal, which gives you the gifts to do what you do up here, but also the struggle that you do when you're not up here. Basically. You with what I'm saying?
All right, this is going to be our template for the rest of our teaching. Lady wrote a book by the name of Nancy Groom called From Bondage to Bonding. She was a woman who was sexually abused when she was younger, and she wrote an amazing book that's helped ladies recover from the effects of sexual abuse. And she created this outline of where we start, where we get to, and where we need to end up. We've taken that, and this is actually the first time Ann and I have combined this teaching together in one. So you're going to get all the things that God has given us on teaching, and we pray that He's going to just release it in you in a new and exciting way, so you all can go teach it to somebody else, which would be awesome.
And how many of y'all, when y'all were younger, would drink out like a spigot or like a water hose or something like that? I know, right? I'm telling you today, what we're about to do is show you some information. We're about to open up the fire hose on you. So understand that we don't expect you to recall everything we're going to talk about, and at any time, the pastor can show you where the website is, the information's back there. Hit me up, and I'll help get some of this information to you so that you can digest it for yourself, because you can't swallow all we're about to give you.
Now, whatever hits you is for you. Just write down what hits you, and then take it to God later on. Take it in prayer, because He may want to say something to you about it that we never even thought of. Our formation is of who we are is we don't begin as a blank slate. You know, there's some teachings of psychology that say we start as a blank slate, and everything you are is based on what you're taught and learn your environment. We don't believe that's true. We believe Psalm 139 when He says, I have formed you in your mother's womb with great intention. You've been formed, so you have both what God put into you from mom and dad and from Him, and you also have learned behavior. You don't start as a blank slate. How many of you have children? Okay, how many of you have more than one children? And how many of you know that they're not alike? Okay. I heard a lady tell me the other day, she said, this is my fourth one, and if I'd had this one first, it wouldn't have been four. Okay, I get that. But we're born, we are born, even out of the womb, we're born with emotional longings. That's not unique. It's universal. It goes across race, religion, creed. Every child is born with emotional needs.
Mm-hmm. And the first one that we have here is intimacy. Now, I don't know about y'all, but when I first learned about intimacy, I thought it was listening to Marvin Gaye. You know what I'm saying? That kind of intimacy. And that's the way I was taught. But what I learned is that intimacy is into me, you see. It's closeness, right? It's safety. So the longings that you're born with is a desire to be touched in healthy ways. That's why when they take the baby out of the womb, they put it skin to skin on the mom, because it needs that touch. And if it doesn't have that touch, it won't form an emotional bond, okay? We have a desire to feel safe, not fearful. Innately born that way, and a desire to be close.
We also have a need to have impact on other human beings. We need to be important to somebody. My daughter grew up, an only child, grew up in her early years in a restaurant, and the first time I noticed this was when she was still in her high chair. She was a very inquisitive child. She got some of her temperament from me. I was always wondering stuff. My grandma said, you were old when you were young. I was always thinking too much. And my daughter, I could see in her eyes, before she could even talk, she was studying people. And one time she's in her high chair, and this family sits down next to us in the restaurant, and it's a father, and he has some kids, and my daughter is steady staring at him. I'm like, honey, what is she doing? I'm a first-time father. I don't know, everything about little girls. She said, I don't know. And my daughter watched him, and she got his attention. They caught eye to eye, and she went like that, and he laughed, and it made her giggle. She got the biggest kick out of the fact that she could make a grown man smile. I said, okay, I'm in trouble. Even that early, the need for impact, the need for, see, that's my Apple friend over there. He loves Apple.
Nope, this is the fact that he is hitting the buttons when I hit the button. I'm hitting the buttons, Rob.
Oh, no, I didn't do that one.
All right.
Here's impact. We need to be heard and affirmed and praised, and we need to be needed and understood. How many of you know that the need to be affirmed, the need to be praised says, you give me feedback on things that I do well. That's praise. Affirmed says, you love me for who I am. See, we need both. We need to tell a child, we appreciate that effort. You did a great job. But that doesn't need to be, that's not their identity. See, some of us have been raised where our identity was how well we performed.